This is a Corning factory splice with a tether coming out one end to feed a terminal or a leg of cable. And that's the Coyote Runt closure we'll be putting on this opening. There's a seam on the top of this splice where the mold was at, where it's poured in. We're going to take and make some light cuts going across that seam across the top. There's a ground wire and a bullet bond about right here and right here, and that's going to be completely opposite of where the tether comes out at, which is on the bottom right here where my finger's at. So I'm just going to make a series of light cuts and go down to where I can feel where the cable's at. We'll get down really close to it, and then I'm going to come back in here with a screwdriver and pry this apart. It's really soft rubber, and a razor blade seems to work best with this. So we're just going to go right down that line and make a series of light cuts working our way down. So right there I can feel the ground wire that's going across it and that bullet bond, which is right about there. And once I get down where it feels like I'm pretty close, like I'm running across the ground wire right there, it feels like I'm getting pretty close to the cable itself. So I'm going to come in here, it's a little piece of tape and sort of like a thin DR tape underneath this vinyl tape. I'm going to come in with a medium blade screwdriver, just work this in and try and get that started peeling apart. It's got to be kind of easy with it. And work the screwdriver down in, and you want to get the rubber so it's just kind of peeling off the cable. You don't want this coming off in chunks. Best you can, you want it off in one piece. And once you get it started, it tends to roll apart pretty easy. I'm going to have to go down a little bit deeper in here, right there. Just a series of light cuts, and you just kind of go on by feel. You keep in mind this is nothing but rubber, and you're running right into the transportation tube, so you got to be real careful. Right there I can see where the bond is. I'm getting down to the ground wire. Should be able to come back and just start walking it off. And I got that kind of peeled apart. Now if I keep prying here, because I'm only cut back to here, it's going to tend to tear real bad like it started to here. So I'm going to go and keep making cuts this way. Keep that leading edge out in front. There's the ground wire. You can kind of feel the ripples as you're going down it. I'm just gonna try and get that rubber dislodged from that ground wire. And it's starting to peel off. It's got to be kind of easy with the screwdriver because you don't have right below that ground wire is where all your fibers are at, so you want to be kind of careful. See, it's starting to walk out, and now you can start seeing where your transportation tubes are at in your fiber. So we're just going to keep walking it down until we get the whole thing removed. Alright, I finished getting the cable cut. I got it slit all the way from where I left off at to the end, and then made a cut back here to separate the tether from the cable. I just have come back just a little bit. And then you've got 3 wires that go around the ground wire and all the fibers, including the protective tube that's over the ribbon on the tether. So you got to go through and cut those 3 off so you're able to take the rest of the rubber closure off. You just got to be real easy on the end opposite the tether, because the tube is cut to pull out your fibers to splice to the tether. And it's exposed for just about an inch or so before it goes in that clear tube that's over the tether splice. So we'll get those wires cut. Alright, now we should be able to get this on out. Now there's like an earplug looking thing and some, looks like bee sealant around the fiber. So we're going to take and grab a hold of that tube, just pull it all out, and now we got the whole thing out. Usually these tethers are bent really close to where at the end of where it comes out of the splice, and at this point you can just peel what's left of the tether out, and now you got all this ribbon to reuse. And then here's your splice here and the tube that slid over it to protect it. I got to come back here and get this bee sealant cut out the end of the tube. And that's on out, and that should just slide up out of there. And let's see here. There's our fibers, there's that silicone, whatever the heck that is. There's our splice, and here's our ribbon that we're going to be splicing to our tether repair. There's our little splice out of here, and we'll get into that in just a second. Alright, here's our Coyote Runt. We knocked out the 2 end plugs on the one side and the one on this side. We're going to take the 15-foot tether and cut it in on the same side as where your fibers are coming in at, which is over here. That way they both come up in the tray we're going to put on here in a minute. Now all I got to do with this, with the collars on, is put this down and tighten it down on both ends, and then we'll build out the tray. I got the end plates tightened down. Then we slide this black piece of rubber under this silver bar, put this threaded rod down, and then we slide that cap down, which holds that tray in place. Then we're going to take our fiber and put it where these slits are at on this cap. There's also the same slits on the bottom, so we slide the ribbon in that slit, push this down, which holds our fiber in place here. Then here's that piece of silicone that's on the factory ribbons, and then they're also going in here. Here's our factory splice, and this gives us enough slack on both the tether and the existing fiber to splice it together. Alright, here's where we go out of the loose tube fibers coming in. That's where that silicone and whatnot is from the factory. Then we got the fibers laid under the slit in the bottom of this one. Come around with the sleeve holders and just cut the pack down into a pair of singles. It's double stick tape on the back side. So put a Corning splice on the ribbon for the original tether. Just stuck that down where it falls out at. Then at the end of the ribbon where it would be damaged at, we spliced on to the new ribbon from the new tether repair. Let it slack loop go around and just stick that sleeve holder down wherever it falls out at and put the cover on it, and we are done.